What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Manny K Way. I make weekly videos on self and spiritual development. Today's video is all about self-love, which is a near and dear topic to my heart because it took me almost 30 years of my life to fall in love with the person that I am and the person that I get to grow into. We're always evolving, and as we evolve in our lives, it's so important to make self-love a part of our daily ritual and routine. So in this video, I really want to focus on the 5 ways that you get to step into practicing self-love. The first and foremost way that you can practice self-love in your day-to-day is to learn to focus on the things that you're doing that are right. It's very easy to focus on the mistakes that we might make or the ways that we're showing up that maybe are not in full alignment with who we want to be. But if we harp on those things, it sets us up for failure. When we're looking at the ways that we want to be like someone else, aka comparing ourselves, or when we're looking at the things that we did wrong in our day, or maybe we are really being hard on ourselves, it becomes really hard for ourselves to have nice things to say about ourselves. If you're looking at the things you did wrong, you're going to want to spiral and focus on the negative thoughts. So whenever you are in a situation in your day where it comes to you comparing yourself to others, or maybe you got a grade on a test, or maybe you got some feedback from your boss that maybe necessarily wasn't the best, the first thing I want you to do, even if someone else isn't doing it for you, is to acknowledge yourself for the things that you did right. If you open yourself up to focusing on the external feedback that you're getting, whether that be a comment someone makes or a grade on a test, you're allowing yourself to lose control of the situation. So the number one thing when you are focusing on self-love is to focus on the things you're doing right. Acknowledging yourself is very important in your journey of self-awareness and self-actualization. And doing that is going to help you start changing the mechanisms within yourself to switch over to any negative self-talk that you have into you transitioning into positive self-talk. And when you have more positive self-talk in your day-to-day, it's much easier for you to love yourself and give yourself the things that you need in your day-to-day. The second way that you get to practice self-love is developing some sort of pattern interruption, something like thought stop. So my friend and I discussed something like this many years ago when I was in a phase in my life where I was continuously putting myself down, and I was continuously commenting on the way that I looked, on the way that I was showing up. Every single social situation, it became me focusing on all of the negative aspects of myself. And when I started to do that, I started realizing that I was pushing people away because people were getting uncomfortable with the fact that I was talking about myself in such a negative way. So in order to combat that, my friend and I, we thought of this phrase, thought stop. When I started using that phrase in my life, I was able to interrupt this pattern I had of negative self-talk. So in your life, I want you to come up with a phrase or something that signals to you that the path that you're going on, or this path that you're about to embark on, that's a negative rabbit hole, you get to stop. So go ahead and take the word thought stop if that resonates for you. Whatever phrase works for you that lets you know, hey, I'm about to spiral down to a place that's really dark and I don't want to go there because I know it's not in line with my self-love journey. I'm going to say this word whenever I notice myself doing that so I can shift and start having that positive self-talk that we started talking about. The third way that you can practice self-love in your day-to-day is earning self-respect through doing challenging, difficult, hard things. So what does that mean? If you're the type of person in your life who's always thought that I could never run a marathon, or I could never do a triathlon, or anything that you view as hard, set yourself up for the challenge where you start training and being more disciplined in actually trying to get yourself to do that hard, challenging thing. Or maybe for you, that hard, challenging thing is learning a new language. How are you going to change your day-to-day way so you can start doing things in your life that are challenging and hard for you. Because if you're in a stage in your life where you're stagnant and you're not feeling like you're doing things that you view as hard, you're always going to set yourself up in a place of looking up to someone who is doing those hard things, and you're always going to see yourself as less than or lower, when in fact you have actually just as many skills or the capabilities to do those things. You just have to put your mind to it and put effort in regards to doing that hard and challenging thing. So I want you to take a look at your life. If you were to look at your last month that just went by and you have not done anything in your life that you consider to be hard or challenging. So I want to make that distinction. It's all about you. So if there's something that someone else views as hard and challenging, but you don't view that as hard and challenging, then that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you, the individual who's watching this video right now, what are things that you think are hard and challenging? And are you doing those things on a weekly basis? Or have you committed to some 6-month goal that is hard or challenging that you've seen other people accomplish that you look up to? Are you setting yourself up to earn your own self-respect? Are you saying you're going to do something and then accomplishing that thing? So earning your own self-respect is key when it comes to self-love. If you don't respect yourself because you don't trust the fact that when you make a commitment to something that you're going to accomplish and finish it, you are doing yourself a disservice. So in creating a better relationship with yourself and learning to have more self-love and self-compassion, how do you get to earn your self-respect? And the number one way that I have found is learning to do hard and challenging things. So I don't want to look at people anymore that I feel are doing all these hard and challenging things in their lives and comparing myself in a way that's going to make me feel less than. I'm going to see someone doing something that I find hard and challenging as well, and I'm going to step up to the plate and trust myself to know that I can do that too. And then 6 months down the line, when you've accomplished that thing that you put your mind to, you're training yourself, your mind and your body, and you're saying, hey, I made a commitment to do this thing and I got to check that thing off my list. I'm proud of myself. So when you commit to doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, you start respecting yourself more and you empower yourself to feel like the person that you authentically are. The fourth way to practice self-love is cultivating an empowering self-narrative. So what does that mean? On a day-to-day basis, we all create stories about the certain actions that we take or the certain things that we say, what those things mean about us. And when we use things that happen in our day-to-day to create stories, most of the time our brain goes to a place that doesn't serve us because we all carry limiting beliefs about ourselves based on certain experiences we've had growing up or even every single day. I might walk out my front door and someone might say something on the street to me, and that might cause me to feel like I need to create a limiting belief about what I can or cannot do. So I want to make that apparent to everybody that we all have limiting beliefs, whether they were formed at a young age or whether they are still forming on a day-to-day basis. But our journey with self-love can really support us in becoming aware of what those limiting beliefs are and how they're standing in the way of the narrative that we can create in our day-to-day that would truly empower us. So I'm going to give you an example. If you are working towards a goal in your life and you are trying to create a business, let's say, and you are realizing that there are so many big overarching things that you have to do, and on a week-to-week basis, you see yourself not accomplishing those things. And when you see yourself not accomplishing those things, you create the story that you don't feel like you are good at being strategic or planning a business, or maybe you're not set up correctly to be the CEO or the founder, or maybe you're not good at whatever you've set out to do in your life, and you feel that way because you feel like you're not hitting those big overarching goals that you've set for yourself on a weekly basis. So in doing that, you're creating the narrative that you're not successful, that you're not on the right path to reach the things that you want to reach in your life. What if you shifted that narrative? And what if you recognize all the small things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis that are somehow getting you closer to those goals? So maybe the first thing you do is you take those big overarching goals and you turn them into smaller goals. And as you start seeing yourself on a daily basis tackle those smaller goals, you're going to start feeling better. And you're now creating a new narrative that, hey, all the small steps that I'm taking are actually creating momentum, and it's getting me closer to those bigger overarching goals that I have. So whenever something is going wrong in your life, possibly, it's more than likely because of the way that you're looking at the situation. If you shift your perspective and you shift your mindset and you make your mind work with you and you create a narrative about what is going on that actually can serve you, you actually shift everything and you start to pick up momentum to get to where you want to get quicker. So on this journey that you are embarking on when it comes to self-love, make sure you're creating and cultivating a narrative that serves you, that is in line with the person that you know you are and that you get to be. Because when you create a narrative that serves you, everything else falls in line with the positive self-talk and acknowledging yourself and really actualizing in this moment that you are who you believe you are. You just have to set yourself up with the correct tools. The fifth way that you get to practice self-love is by learning and knowing what you need to feel loved. So in your day, if you are feeling a lack of nourishment or a lack of support, how can you step away from whatever you're doing in that day to acknowledge yourself, to nourish yourself, and to support yourself? Figure out why it's depleting your energy. Are you doing something that maybe is not in line with who you are and what you want to be doing? In that moment, can you reevaluate why you're doing that thing and realign with your values and your why? Or do you get to shift in that moment and step away from whatever is going on, whether it be a work situation, a family situation, a relationship situation? And as you step away in that moment, how do you get to show up for yourself? What are the ways that you love to nourish yourself and support yourself? Is that going outside and taking a quick walk? Is that listening to music? Maybe the music is meditation music, or maybe for you it's ecstatic dancing music. Or when you feel like you need nourishment, maybe you go out and go get a dessert. Whatever that looks like for you is going to be important. Life isn't about cutting so many things out and restricting your life to the point where you feel like you can't nourish yourself in the way that you want to. Life is about abundance and focusing on the fact that you can have it all, but how can you utilize the tools that you have and the understanding that you have of what makes you happy and knowing what you need? How can you use that knowledge to your benefit when you feel like maybe you're having a bad day or you're feeling like you're having a day where you're getting depleted? I hope this video was of value to you guys. If you guys got any value, definitely like and comment down below. I want to hear where you guys are tuning in from and what was the most important lesson that you got from today's video. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe and notification bell. I make weekly videos on self and spiritual development on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I am here to be of service and support for you guys. Until next time, I love you all.